So I just got my youngest daughter down for her nap, so I got about 2 hours to work on this project while my wife is out running some errands. Um, Let me show you what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the water pump on right here, and then also the fuel pump down there. First, I just gotta clean up that gasket sealing surface right there where the water pump goes. Okay, I've got that gasket surface where the oil pump sits all cleaned up. There's a little bit of pitting right down there. I don't know if you can see. It's right there. It's pretty minor, and everywhere else looks pretty good. So I don't think I'm going to use any sealer or anything like that on that when I put the water pump on. I'm just going to go ahead and mate it with the new gasket that I got from Cowboy John, and I'm just going to mount everything up right there. Okay, so part of the reason why I'm so grateful that Cowboy John was able to rebuild this water pump is because I actually attempted to rebuild my spare water pump by myself first. They both leaked. I tried both of them on and off the truck. They both leaked out of the same place, out of the same wheat pole right here. The seal that was down inside of here had given out, and so they both leaked. And so I went on to Dennis Carpenter, and they have a flathead V8 water pump rebuild kit. And so I went ahead and I bought that for about $44 after shipping, I think. And I took my spare water pump and I went up to my dad's and I pressed it apart on his press. And I was really nervous that I wouldn't be able to get it pressed apart, but I did. It came apart, so that was kind of like what I thought was going to be the main obstacle or the main hurdle. However, as I was pressing everything back together, I didn't pay close enough attention to how far I was supposed to press these the pulleys and the impeller onto the shaft. And because the shaft, this is the shaft that came out of the V6 water pump, and the shaft that's for the V8 water pump is a little bit longer. And so I was just kind of paying attention to how far the shaft stuck out from the pulley right here and how far it stuck out from the impeller on the back. And so as I was pressing it together, that's what I was using as my gauge or my frame of reference. And I messed up and I pressed everything together too far. And so much so that it's hard to spin. And so then I had to try to pull it apart, and I thought it wouldn't be too bad, but the only way to pull it apart, because I couldn't get a C-clip because I pressed this on too far, so I can't get the C-clip out here on the front to unpress it. So the only thing I could do was put a flywheel puller on the back side here of the impeller and try to pull off of this and try to pull it out of this shaft a little bit. And it didn't work. As you can see, I broke the impeller, and I was pretty frustrated with everything, the whole, why I didn't pay attention. And so I thought, I can either try again, buy another kit from Dennis Carpenter for another $44 and try again and probably fail. Well, I didn't know. And so for $149, Cowboy John, he rebuilt the whole thing and put new seals in it. Anyway, he sent it back with a new gasket. It looks really good. I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw it on the truck now. Okay, I got the water pump all installed. Now it's just time to do the fuel pump. So you can see on the straight 6 down here, runs right off the camshaft is where the fuel pump sits. Now, this is another reason why I am grateful for Cowboy John, because the fuel pump, when I rebuilt this engine back in like 1999, I went to AutoZone and I was able to just buy a remanufactured fuel pump, this one right here. Well, after sitting for 25 years, the diaphragm inside dried out and it no longer worked. So that's why I had to put on this, you can see right down there, I put on a little clickety-clack electric fuel pump just to see if I could get this thing running. I didn't want to invest a lot of money. So now that I know that it runs with that clickety-clack pump, when I was rebuilding my water pump, I sent in my fuel pump, and he rebuilt my fuel pump as well. So this was $85 to get it rebuilt. However, that's a pretty good deal considering you can't even find a straight 6 water fuel pump they're all, the only ones I could find online were all just for the V8. So, so I'm really grateful that I was able to get this fuel pump rebuilt. I could have gotten by with that electric one down there, but I really just like having this mechanical one and not having to worry about even all these wires that I, dangled through here to try to get that electric one. And by the way, if you've ever wondered how you can tell whether or not your fuel pump is working, just listen for this sound. If it makes that sound, then you got a good fuel pump. Okay, the fuel pump is now installed, but before I hook it up, I'm going to turn on that electric pump one more time, and I'm going to fill up the float bowl of the carburetor. Turn the fuel pump back on, and it filled it up until the float lifted up, and then I just let it keep on running to see if the fuel pump would overpower that float, and it doesn't. But I do have a few minor fuel leaks, but I think it's just minor fuel leaks down inside the carburetor because it's seeping around the carburetor right here. So I'll tighten everything up. So I filled up the carburetor with the clickety-clack electric fuel pump, and now I have installed or connected the fuel pump to the gas supply line. So I'm going into the fuel pump here, going through the filter, into the fuel pump, through the sediment bowl, and then back out through the fuel pump, up into the carburetor. Check this out. Just filled this up with some antifreeze, and look at that. Now I haven't filled it all the way up because I do have a slight leak in my radiator right here. I used to not have that, but I guess just over the years, corrosion, I've got a little bit of corrosion there. And so I'm not going to fill this up all the way because I'm going to put some leak stop stuff in there, and I'm going to do that when the engine is warm. So I'm going to mix the leak stop stuff with a little bit of the antifreeze, mix it together, and then pour it in here while the engine is running when the engine's warm, and then that can circulate through and it can plug up the leak right here in the radiator. See, you can see a little bit on the back side too. So, but anyway, that's good to have that radiator holding antifreeze. That is the first time in a long time that I've been able to fill this full of antifreeze without it all leaking out of the front of the water pump. So I'm really excited. One thing that I need to do is put some brake fluid into the master cylinder here. So I'm just going to remove this, and we'll see what it looks like down inside of here. Right now the pedal, I don't know if you can see that, the pedal is basically on the floor. So I don't know what's going on inside here. We'll just dump some fluid in here, and hopefully, oh yeah, it's as dry as can be. It's actually not a whole bunch of corrosion.
So I just went ahead and I pulled the whole master cylinder out from under the truck. I think that the plunger is stuck down inside. And so I'm just going to take this apart and disassemble it and see. Oh, it's pretty corroded down in there. It's hard to see down in there on camera. But anyway, I'm going to pop this apart. First I got to drain out all the fluid that I've just dumped in there. But I'll take this apart, and we'll see how bad everything is down inside of there. So there's down. Well, the only way I was able to get this the inside of this master cylinder apart was to take a long skinny screwdriver and pound it down the end here. And I knew doing that I'd probably go through some sort of rubber you know, seal or something, which I did. The screwdriver poked right through the end of this thing right here, right through here, broke through that, and it also punched a little hole right here in the end of this. So that's a little frustrating. I'm probably going to have to buy a new master cylinder rebuild kit now. So I'll go inside and I'll do that. But I think in the meantime, what I'm going to do, oh yeah, also you can look down inside here. There's actually a little bit of pitting down. Let me get my light. Come on. I don't know if you can see down in there. There's a little bit of pitting right there along the bottom surface of that cylinder bore. So I'm going to go inside and I'm going to price out what a whole master cylinder costs, if I can get those, or what a rebuild kit costs. I'm trying to do this on the cheap.
So I actually ended up putting the old master cylinder back together with the original components that I pulled out, even though they were broken. And I was about ready to put it back into the truck, and I thought, yeah, forget it. I went and I bought a whole new kit. It was only like 20 bucks, and it's well worth it. So I'm going to put this new kit in the master cylinder, and then I'm going to go put it back in the truck. It's not worth messing around with parts that I already know are bad when I'm trying to get something to work. So anyway, so let's get this kit put in. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Pop it back in the same way this guy comes out. Okay, I got the old internals to the master cylinder out, and I got the new kit installed. Now we'll go install this, fill it up with oil. We'll connect the lines, fill it up with oil, and see how it works. Hopefully we'll have some brakes.